What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. This is episode number 27, so let's get right into it. So, Verzuz have signed an exclusive deal with Apple Music as well as Beats One to stream the series. Creator Swizz Beatz and Timbaland signed the exclusive deal, and basically you'll be able to watch it on Instagram still for free, but it'll be available on Apple Music platforms as well, so you can watch it in more than one location, and then after the battles is over you can rewatch them. So this is a pretty dope deal, slowly but surely is starting to elevate, and I think at some point eventually they're going to expand into different genres. So this is going to get pretty big within the next 5 to 10 years. So that's pretty dope. Speaking of versus battles, we had the next versus battles between DMX and Snoop Dogg, and I would have to say this is the best one by far. They had very great chemistry. It took place at Snoop's mothership compound, where he records his music, and I think it's on the same studio where he films his GGN show as well. So that was pretty cool. So it opened up with DMX giving a prayer or whatnot, and Snoop went first in the first series already. So round one we had Deep Cover versus Where My Dog's At. I gave that one to Snoop. Round two we had Who Am I versus Who Am I, What's My Name versus What's My Name, Which I Really Want. I gave that one to DMX. Round three we had Gin and Juice versus Get At Me. I gave that to Snoop. Round four we had Fuck With Dre Day versus Some X Shit. I gave that to Snoop. Round five we had Two of America's Most Wanted versus Stop Being Greedy. I gave that to Snoop. Round six we had Fuck Them Other Niggas remix versus Love My Niggas. I gave that to Snoop. Round seven we had Ain't No Fun versus Back in One Piece. I gave that to Snoop. And throughout the battle, I mean, it's very impressive. It basically shows you, how deep Snoop's catalog is, because he didn't even play some songs that he could have played. I mean, but the shit was dope nonetheless. But getting back into it, round eight we had Bitch Please versus X Gon' Give It To You. I gave that to Snoop. Round nine we had G's and Hustlers versus They Don't Know Who We Be. I gave that to DMX. Round 10 we had The Shiznit versus Get It On The Floor. I gave that to DMX. And then we had them switch, so DMX goes first in the second half of the versus battle. So round 11 we had Fucking With D versus Lay Low. I gave that to Snoop. That record is dope with Nate Dogg, R.I.P. We had, for round 12 we had What the Bitches Want versus Beautiful. I gave that a tie. Round 13 we had How It's Going Down versus Pump Pump. I gave that to Snoop. Round 14 we had It's All Good versus Bitches Ain't Shit. I gave that to a tie. Round 15 we had Slippin' versus Murder Was a Case. I gave that to tie. Both of them records was hitting. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Murder Was a Case, is a classic as well. So that was a nice counter by Snoop. Then we had for round 16 Niggas Done Started Something versus Doggy Dog World. I gave that to Snoop. Round 17 we had 4 3 2 1 versus I Love It. I gave that to Snoop. Now if you from Long Beach like I am, that song hits harder for someone like me than it might for somebody outside of the city. So some people might have gave it to the 4 3 2 1, but that East Side Us, that I Love It, that shit, it hit different for me. So I get that one to Snoop, but some might have scored that to DMX for that round. Round 18 we had Money, Power, Respect versus PIMP. I gave that to DMX. That Money, Power, Respect was hitting with Lil Kim. PIMP with 50 Cent. It would have been funny, if Snoop and 50 would have battled and they both tried to play that song, or they both played the song and they both was rapping their particular verses. That would have been funny. But for round 19, we had Rough Riders Anthem versus Nothing But a G Thing. I gave that a tie. I love both of those records. I remember when that Rough Riders MV came out. That was one of my favorite music videos. They all came out with the ATVs hitting wheelies and shit. That shit was tight. And then round 20 we had Party Up in Here versus Drop It Like It's Hot. I gave that to Snoop. And then we got a bonus round 21. We got Where the Hood At versus Next Episode, and I gave it a tie. So overall, after tallying up the battle, Snoop wins for me 12, 4, and 5. So Snoop won 12 rounds, DMX won 4, and then I have 5 ties. Those 5 ties could have went to Snoop or DMX, so the score could have been different. And then we got some bonus material after the battle. They both freestyled over a bunch of records, which is pretty dope. So they freestyled over a song called Grand Verbalizer by X-Clan and Brother J. Papa Don't Take No Mess by James Brown. What Can I Do remix by Ice Cube. We Are One by Mace. Rising to the Top by Kenny Burke. Brick House by the Commodores. T Plays It Cool by Marvin Gaye. Rock With Me by Chief Rocker Busy B. Take Me to the Mardi Gras by Bob James. And then it ends with a Tina Marie Square Biz outro. So overall, this was dope as hell. As I said before, this was by far the best versus battle to me. The chemistry between them was dope. They were sharing stories about how particular songs was made. So that was some dope shit. That was some dope shit. And then, DMX, he was kicking bars about things that happened in his life. Like he said, as a child, he was 13 years old having sex with a 26 years old. We taught that we supposed to be fucking bitches, but in reality, I might have been raped or molested. And this shit was deep. But moving on from that, is looking like there's a possible motive into the situation between Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. So rumors have surfaced that it's possible that Meg initiated the conflict because apparently Tory and Kylie were getting too close, and I guess Meg felt some type of way, so she began attacking him, and then that's when Tory allegedly shoots her in the foot. I mean, if you go back, it was kind of pretty obvious that Meg and Tory had a thing because they were showing up in each other's lives and whatnot. So what I think possibly happened is, Meg and Tory was smashing on the low. They get to this party, liquor gets in the system. Meg sees Tory and Kylie maybe getting too close for her taste, and she goes off on him, and then it escalates into something else, which would explain why Kylie unfollowed both of them and how the whole situation, escalated. But we actually got a video from the No Jumper show where they were talking about it. Apparently they know some people that was there, and they basically broke down what actually had happened. So
AD. So what I'm hearing, my version that I've heard from various people that have basically been filtered through AD, yes, very trusted sources, is that Megan and Tory have been fucking. They've been chilling.
Yeah.
They go to this house party. Kylie Jenner is there. I heard, depending on who you want to ask, that either Tory was showing too much attention to Kylie Jenner, or Kylie Jenner was showing too much attention to Tory. Either way, Meg did not appreciate it. Meg, maybe at this point in her career, has a little bit of an ego. She's feeling herself. She doesn't feel like she has to deal with any disrespect. I heard Meg was violating his ass. That they got into a fight that was like bad, and I heard that she was like really shitting on him, like really like
I could see her
disrespecting the fuck. Obviously, this doesn't justify anything.
None of that.
But that's what I heard, is that it was bad. Like the altercation that they were in, and like the level of violation that he maybe was feeling. Obviously not a reason for any violence.
I mean, when you hearing stuff like that, it's like, man, it's like this is another situation where something was escalated or caused by somebody losing their cool due to them being intoxicated, and then the other person sharing the blunt of the blame because of what they did in retaliation. And looking at this, I see both of them at fault. Tory shouldn't have pulled the gun on her, but she shouldn't have did what she did either. I don't like this this situation. Period. This shit is crazy. But I guess there's more to the story right here.
It still occurred. Never mind a gunshot, but
never mind a gunshot. Yeah,
that's what we heard. And
yeah, I watched there was like a short live stream of Megan on Instagram Live, and she had Kylie in it, and then like they're both posing and looking cute, and then Tory tries to like swim up and be in the shot. She's like, Tory, don't get my phone wet, and then he kind of like.
Yeah. So yeah. So, and this is another thing I don't like. Like people, they put out like partial parts of a story instead of telling everything that happened. So it looks as though she caused the situation to happen, and then he retaliated with what he did, and it turned this into some whole other stuff. So the lesson that can be learned from this is don't drink, and if you see a situation about to escalate, you remove yourself from the situation, because as a guy, if you retaliate, no matter what the other person did, you're going to share the blunt of the blame. So this whole situation is unfortunate if you ask me, but hopefully things get resolved, and eventually everything is going to come out into the open. But moving on from that, 6ix9ine has secured the bag. So he recently deleted his his social media, because he's prepping for him getting off a house arrest, and with that he's going to be able to move around and do things. So he signed a $5 million performance deal, which is going to be for him to perform songs off his upcoming album. Is saying that the performance will be at least an hour, and it will be live streamed on the Global Stream Now app. And it said that it's going to have dancers, a band, women, all types of stuff. And it's set to take place September 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, hats off to him. He knows how to, secure that bag. And with the day being September 5th, his album's probably going to have to drop either the week prior or the week after that. So let's see. So the 5th is a Wednesday. So his album has to either be coming either next Friday, which would be the 31st, or the Friday after that, which would be the 7th. So should be interesting. But moving on from that into sports, we finally get the return of the NBA. They've started their first series of games. They're not like real games, they're more so scrimmages, basically to get the players back into basketball shape or whatnot. So we saw a variety of different lineups put on the floor, particularly in the Denver versus Washington game. They played with a bunch of big men. And we also got to see the debut of Bol Bol, which was very impressive. He finished the night with 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks. So he started, or should I say, he made his debut with a double-double. So that should do pretty good in showcasing what his career is going to be like. He was also hitting threes as well. One of the things I do think he might need to improve on is probably his hustle, getting back to the opposite side of the court. I noticed like when players would break down and stuff, he would kind of like linger in a sense, but there's always a transition from college into professional sports. So I think with time that'll get better. But Denver pretty much dominated their scrimmage. They led for pretty much most of the scrimmage. Each quarter was 10 minutes. So out of the 40 minutes, Denver led for 30. And Denver ended up winning 89-82. And I believe these scrimmages and stuff is to set up for who's going to be the 8th seed in the 2 respective divisions or whatever. Because you have teams fighting for that. Because I was looking, I was like, why is Denver playing Washington? And I see, Washington is trying to get into the playoffs. But the other game they had, we had the Pelicans versus the Nets. Pelicans, they pretty much dominated. Probably towards the end of the first, all the way to the end of the game, they dominated. They ended up winning 99-68. So it was pretty much a lopsided blowout. Lonzo finished with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and Ingram finished with 12 points. Zion is still out. He's going to rejoin the team at some point. Other games, the Lakers played the Mavs. The Mavs ended up edging them out. The Clippers played against... Who did the Clippers play? I forgot who the Clippers played, but they won too. So we had a variety of different, opening scrimmaging games. I think they're going to have like 2 or 3 more of these, and then it's going to transition into the actual playoff basketball format. So that should be interesting. And Mike Tyson is coming out of retirement. So, he's been showing videos of him practicing boxing on the internet recently, and this has been in anticipation of him lacing up the gloves. So it's officially said that he's going to be boxing Roy Jones on September 12th. So that should be interesting. Both fighters have been out of, boxing for a minute. Mike Tyson more so, but this should be interesting. It was rumored that Mike and Shannon Briggs was supposed to box, but we getting Mike versus Roy Jones, and then on the undercard it's gonna be Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, which that's a huge mismatch because Jake Paul is like 6 foot something and Nate Robinson is like 5'6", somewhere around there. And will be airing on pay-per-view as well as the Triller app. I think Triller is trying to take that market share that TikTok has, because TikTok is basically on the cusp of being blackballed outside of the U.S. and other countries due to it being used as a way to spy on people because it's a Chinese-based app. So there's that. And then moving on from that into things regarding the Epstein case. Apparently a judge that was assigned the case, her family was targeted. And this is something that was to be expected. There's a lot riding on this case. There's a lot of high profile names attached to this case. So, sooner or later, things like this was going to happen. So apparently it says the name of the judge is Esther Salas. Her son name is Daniel Andor, and her husband, were all, targeted. Her son was murdered by a guy named Roy Den Hollander, who was an attorney, and apparently they have some history. It's being reported that she presided on a case that he was in, and the guy is said to be anti-feminist, and he's also been linked to killing a man's right attorney. So it's a whole lot going on with this. So it says, an attorney who was found dead Monday is a suspect in a shooting at U.S. District Judge Esther Salas' home, the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey said Monday afternoon. Salas' son was killed and her husband injured in a Sunday attack at the family's home in North Brunswick, New Jersey. That's so sad. The FBI identified Roy Den Hollander as a primary subject and said that he is dead. The U.S. Attorney's Office said in a statement, Den Hollander was a lawyer who once argued a case before Salas, according to records. So this this has all the makings of like a blacklist case. I mean, an enraged, attorney who's had prior dealings to make the perfect scapegoat for an assassin type of hit, which I believe that this was, because it also said that he was wearing the garments of a FedEx worker. So, but continuing, it says, earlier 2 law enforcement sources told CNN that the suspect died of what is to believe a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No, what I think happened is, well, this is just a theory. What I think happened is, yeah, he died of a gunshot wound, but it's possible that after he completed his task, he was then assassinated, so he couldn't say anything. So, but it goes on, it says, the judge's son, Daniel Andor, a 20-year-old student at Catholic University, was killed in the shooting, and Mark Andor, the judge's husband and defense attorney, was injured. The judge was unharmed. So the husband is out of second surgery and is in stable condition. So apparently the son and the father were at home, and then it said that the father was standing behind the son. And so apparently the son took the bullet, and then that shit is crazy. Like, imagine that you're a father You basically watch your son die in front of you, and you pretty much defenseless in doing anything. Suspect had one case before the judge. In a lawsuit, Den Hollander represented a woman and her daughter who sought to register for the Military Selective Service, according to federal court records. Den Hollander's clients claimed the draft was unconstitutional because it barred women from registering. Salas sided against a part of Den Hollander's arguments, but also agreed with some of his claims and allowed the lawsuit to continue. Den exited the case in June 2019, handing it over to a team of lawyers. He said he would not be able to see the case through because he was terminally ill. On his website, Den describes himself as an anti-feminist lawyer who defends men's rights. Dad was standing behind son. Report says father was standing right behind him, opened the door to the family home to multiple gunshots. Yeah, that was a calculated hit. And it was basically done to intimidate the judge into being biased on the case that she's presiding over. Those are typically the type of things that, go on when you have people with power. They pull off these type of stunts. It says a FedEx package addressed to Salas was found by officials investigating a vehicle associated with the suspect. The gunman appeared to be wearing a FedEx uniform. How did he get a FedEx uniform? We are aware of the media reports and are fully cooperating. And all of them were involved in law. You had the wife was a judge, the husband was a lawyer, and the son was thinking about becoming a lawyer, but his family wanted him to become a doctor. Says she presided over several high-profile cases, including the Real Housewives of New Jersey case, where they were accused of, I think it was like failing to pay taxes and stuff like that. Financial fraud case. Yeah, this was a targeted hit. This whole thing is fishy to me. Somebody in power that possibly has something to lose if the case don't go their way probably hired somebody to do this, or hired him to do this in order to get some type of bias over the case so she can tank the case. Yeah, this shit is crazy. But that's going to pretty much do it for this week's podcast. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify and everywhere else, I also appreciate you all for tuning in. And until the next one, peace.
CaliKidOfficial.